Morning, everybody. Thanks for coming. Right, so we're recording this so um, we can share this in the future. If you want a copy of it, you can have this also. So we'll go ahead and get started. This is about document management services, and this is a new thing that NACE is offering, um, and we're really excited about it, and we're hoping that you guys will be too, that you'll want to sign up for it. So I'm going to start with the safety moment. And this is obviously a little self-serving because I'm the drafter for the company, but it's also something that's very important and is often overlooked. Um, Plant safety is affected by drawings. The a statistic that I saw was that over 50% of current operators are within 5 years of retirement, and the new operators that are coming in need to have updated drawings because once the experienced people are retired, they're going to need the new guys are going to need to know how to use drawings. And when that institutional knowledge is gone, this is what they're going to need. So every time a system is updated, you want to get drawings updated. You want to get them when new systems are installed, and not just the new system, the parts that connect to that system also need to be updated. And when your systems are retired or removed, you'll also want to get the drawings updated. If it's super easy to have something go wrong when you don't know what is actually represented in the drawings. So with that out of the way, um, this is how drawings have been stored for many years, including us. So I thought that I had a pretty good system for tracking and storing drawings, and I had files that were clean that I thought, and I had all my CAD files, all my PDFs and TIFF and images and files that I thought were organized. They were not. I've also seen plants where the person who was the person in charge of tracking the drawings and keeping them updated retired, and all the files were in his drawers, but they were locked, and he left with the key, and nobody knows how to access those drawings. Um, I've also seen people have their own copies of the drawings and they've updated their own copies, but nobody else has access to those. It's great for that one guy, but it's not great for anybody else. So what we worked with Dogwood, who was also having a similar problem, and together we came up with this that we're using now. It's Autodesk Build. Um, One of the problems with how if you have a file in your folders with all the drawings, these are three sequential drawings. They're all in different places. You can't organize them alphabetically because they're all named differently. If you have this problem, you're going to find drawings that you weren't looking for. You're not going to find drawings that you are looking for, and it's very confusing and it's not efficient at all. Another problem is if you have drawings that you're sending off to get updated, you have to worry about how the files are sent to you and how you're sending the files out. Um, there are phishing scams out there. There's the Dropbox scam where it looks like a Dropbox link, but in fact, it's a virus that you're putting on your computer as soon as you click on that link. There's Google Drive scam. There's a PDF file scam. There's all kinds of ways to have problems. And it just seems like a better situation if you can just keep it within one system, never let it leave the system. And that's where document management comes in. With the system that we've identified, which is Autodesk Build, all the drawings are word searchable. All the drawings are stored in one place. They're accessible by anybody anywhere. They can be on your computer, it can be on a phone, it could be on your tablet. You can take that out into the on site and update it while you're looking at the parts. Take pictures of it and bring that into your drawing and have that available for marking up. They can be marked up within the system and sent to revision through the system without ever leaving it. So as soon as something is identified, immediately everybody has access to that. Another thing that's a benefit is only the latest version of each drawing appears in the searches. If you're an administrator, you have access to all the previous versions, so nothing is ever deleted, which is a benefit. But if you are an operator, you don't need that extra information. It's not that important. Just you only have access to the latest version. You can view CAD files without needing to pay for an AutoCAD license. And that is a huge one. I can't tell you how often, I mean, every week I'm getting emails from different people going, there's a CAD file, I can't read it. Can you convert it to PDF for me? With this, you don't have to worry about that anymore. You can link these drawings to any system. For ours, as an example, is Savanta. Once you have a drawing, it has a link, and no matter what version that drawing goes through, that link still works. So just because you update a drawing, you don't have to change the link for it, which is super nice. One of the benefits is that when you upload the files into the document management service, the files don't change formats. So if a Word file, it stays a Word file. If it's an AutoCAD file, it stays an AutoCAD file. It's easy to download documents from Build. Loading files is just a drag and drop, or if you have a lot of files, you can click on the upload files and select a folder, and it will upload that entire folder. And it's super easy. We have customized searches based on how documents are tagged. We can set up columns and have a custom information for each column. We can have tags. So you can say, this is for this system, this is for this system, this is the vendor, this is who was the engineer. All those things are customizable. I already went through number 5. Previous files are accessible by administrators. And then, John, if you could take over with this one.
Yeah, so Christopher kind of hit on the high points where we can centralize everything. For Dogwood, we have over 40,000 drawings. I scanned our file server for all the drawing files, TIFF files, and bitmaps of drawings, and I came up with this huge number that I set it for a few years here, and management really didn't catch on that we really had that many until we got into it. For our S&Ps and MMPs, we go to it and it says, hey, all our drawings in our control room. For Lotto and access control. So I went to the control room and we've got a 3-ring binder. It's got, a couple hundred drawings in it maybe. But when we get into the things like smaller electrical things like control circuitry with the 120 on it, the logic circuits, small, where's the light in your office powered from, building things, that those drawings aren't in that system. You go to, and I'm going to challenge any of the plant managers that think that they have a handle on drawings, or ops managers, to go to your electrical or your controls guy and go, hey, where does that analyzer out in the field get powered from? Show me a drawing. And I would bet you dollars to donuts that nobody can put their hand on those drawings quickly, and maybe not at all. So we looked at our own drawing systems here to be able to do these things. And on the upside, I'm not going to really talk about things on this slide, but the next slide, what we ran into is, if we did it in-house, we were looking at over $50,000 to set up a software system, set up servers, and be able to house all this. And that didn't count all the man hours into sorting and figuring out what drawings we had and entering them into the system. So you can't really buy a solution. There is no silver bullet. There is no way to do this easily. Once you get a system, it's going to take an employee to spearhead this and take it on, to get everything in there, get it organized the way your plant needs it, to get tags in there so that everything is searchable so you can find what you need. We're going through this right now. Like I said, we had over 42,000 drawings that we have to sort through, find duplicates, figure out which ones are repeated, which ones are not up to date. A lot of times we find that we'll have two drawings and there's parts of the drawings that are updated on both, but neither one is completely correct. And that's where we've, like I said, worked with NACE on this one, to get Christopher in the system where I can just send him a bunch of files for me. He can get them into the system because I don't have time to do it. And then when things come up that there's questions on, he can just bounce that drawing back to me, and then I can just look into a handful of drawings at a time as we sort through this. Like I said, I used to use the old Falcon drawing system. It was really good the way our plant used it back in the day. That system is no more. So for the guys that have gone out there and tried to do this at the plants, we here tried first using Excel and access to catalog our drawings. But we ran into the same problem that Christopher was saying, that, hey, as soon as we catalog them on a file server, if someone moves a drawing, changes a drawing, that hyperlink is lost, and we just couldn't keep track of everything. For us, we chose, like I said, we went ahead and set up, I think we're going to try to get 5,000 drawings in the system this year. And then every year after that, take a chunk of those and get them in the system. The way I really like this, like I said, everybody gets a drawing right away. Guys are starting to figure out how to access that. I've already gone in there and looked at being able to make a correction. And then this morning, Christopher, I just got a notification from the system that, hey, there was a question on a drawing. So Christopher will have to speak to that one. That's a new feature that, I didn't know how that works, but we're finding that this system has a lot of functionality that we didn't know about, or we're figuring out ways to use it better.
Yeah. So I'm going to show you a little bit about the system and about the part that I just figured out. It's super cool. So we did a presentation on Tuesday, and one of the questions was, I want to make a change to the drawing, but I don't want everybody to be able to make a change to the drawing. And so I'm going to get to that. First, this is what it looks like. So these are AutoCAD files, and you can click on the AutoCAD file, and here's the drawing. And this is AutoCAD. So if you have an AutoCAD license, you can launch it in the AutoCAD web app, and it is an AutoCAD file. You can change it on the web, and all the drawings are changed. So we'll automatically change to the next version. So you can see the previous version, the newest version. But so there's V1, V2, and this is the current one. You can make this the current if you choose, but there's no sense in that. But the cool part is, say you have a problem with this drawing, there's an issue button here, and you can say there is an existing condition that this right here is no longer 90, now it's something else. So you can fill this out, say, hey, this is and then you can assign to have me change it, and you have to make sure that the administrator knows. And then you can say where it is, when you want the project to start, when you want the file to be updated by. And now John and me have emails saying this is an issue, and at the bottom you have a comment, and you can type in whatever you want. And now it's all tracked. So no matter what, John doesn't have to be watching this all the time to say, hey, did something change? I don't know. There's tracking with this. I'm going to delete this since we don't actually need this, but he will get an email. I'll get an email. Whoever is assigned will get an email. If you want to give everybody permission to do this, you can mark it up and write in your text. And this is now an updated drawing. Everybody sees this immediately. As soon as right now, if John were to open this up, he would see the same thing that I'm looking at. It's pretty powerful. It's pretty cool. So these are all the CAD files. If you want to have sheets with PDFs, Word documents, all that, that's all on here. We can customize all the columns. We can tag everything. If you want to search, you can search all the electrical, or you can search for Siemens drawings. I don't have that tagged in here, but I do. That's weird. And then there's the issues. If you want to create the issues outside of that, what's cool also with a mobile device, if you were to go out in the field with your issue, you can take a picture of it and upload it into the system. So there's no confusion. You can say, hey, there's this problem here. Here's a picture of it. And that picture gets assigned to that image. And once the issue is completed, you can check it off, but that image is still part of the drawing. So nothing is ever lost in the system. It never loses the link, the functionality. It's always there. So it's the more we find out about this, the more powerful it is, and the more I'm impressed with what we're able to get. Because we have such a huge fleet, we've been able to get a very powerful, expensive system at a price that everybody can actually really afford, which is really cool.
Hey, Christopher, we have one question in the chat box, and then Noah's raising his hand. So Pete wants to know, how will this interface with an existing Autodesk account? Do you know?
Yeah, you just sign into it the same way. So when here, I'll show you. It might take a little while because it's opening for the first time today, but there we go. Here's the AutoCAD file. You have access to all the layers, all the blocks, any extras that you have. It's a full-on AutoCAD drawing. So does that answer your question? Noah, do you have a question?
Yeah. Hey, Chris. Thanks. The red line feature, I saw a note earlier that I think it said red line drawings as they are found, correct drawings that everyone can access without needing to send drawings out. How does that different than the issues that you showed, where you can kind of track somebody pointing out an issue and it has a workflow that you showed, which I like. Who can do the red lines, and how does that get implemented?
And everybody can do the red lines unless you don't want everybody to. So the administrator, no matter what, can do the red lines. If you don't want to have all the operators have access to update the drawings with red lines, and you don't think that's the best idea ever, you can limit it to just the administrator. So the operator can go out on the field and go, hey, I've got an issue. And then whoever's the administrator is now going to be able to go, okay, so we have a red line. This is where it is. I'm going to write this. This isn't a big deal, so I don't need to send it to get updated, or there's enough changes in here. We really should get this drawing updated. And then they can send it to me or whoever else you want. You don't necessarily need to have me as your drafter, although I hope you will, because I do a good job. But you have options. Does that answer your question?
Yeah. Is that red line like a different version tracked in the history?
No, it's still in the same version until you save it as a CAD file into it, unless you're in the PDF version, and then it is a new version.
Okay. Last question. Have you guys, maybe this is Dogwood question, Have you tried to use this system for managing valve lists, instrument lists, stuff that gets edited when you add stuff to the drawings?
So not yet. We're still talking about how we can use the system. We know that a document management system cannot be used as a drawing management, but from what we're seeing, we think we can use this drawing management as part of our document management system. So we haven't made it that far yet. It's still a little bit new to us. We haven't figured out all the features. But that is, I mean, whatever you can think of, the system will probably be able to do it.
It does way more than I'm always finding out new things that are really impressive.
I got a question. You may have went over this before, but does it keep all the revs together? Like where you can see all the drawings and all the different revs?
Yeah, so like this one, if you want to see a previous rev, here's the previous revision. And then here's the new revision.
Yeah, 'cause that's a
So-
lot, that's the problem with a lot of the new drawing programs is they only have the most current. And sometimes it benefits you to see the changes.
Yeah, absolutely. So the administrators are going to have access to this. Not everybody will, but if an operator wants to know, hey, what was the previous version? Why did it change? You can go through and figure that out. So there is a caveat. If you have all the drawings in all the previous versions, you can load them in order, and then you'll have access to the previous versions. But if you just give me the latest one, you won't have that.
Understood.
Tim.
Thank you.
Sure. Christopher, you have a question?
Yeah, hi, Chris. This is Chris from Milford. That's a two-part question. The first question is, we have some older documentation, that isn't in CAD. It's just basically hanging files up in a mezzanine.
Yeah.
And they're about 30 years old. So does this software have the ability to either take a picture and integrate that somehow into CAD? Or, would Nate be able to provide that service?
Yeah, we can.
Okay, good.
We would just scan that in digitally and make a PDF out of it.
Okay.
And if in the future you wanted to convert those to CAD, you can. If you just want a PDF version, that's totally great too. So
Okay. And then the second part of this question, it looks like it's an annual fee.
Right.
You know, hopefully we stay Nate for the majority of the plant's life, but say the owner, decided to sell the plant and we got picked up by NRG, let's say. Would the plant have access to these files, if we did change hands?
as long as you're paying for it, we're providing the service. It
Okay.
doesn't matter if you're an Ace Fleet or not. If your plant gets sold and you're now in a new system and they have their own document management system that they want to use, all of these files can be downloaded very quickly and you can import them into the new system. So just because they're in our system doesn't mean that's the way it always has to be.
Okay, thank you.
Obviously, we're going to want to keep you forever, but
Yeah,
we
That's-
understand things happen.
that's the hope, but
Yeah.
just wanted to make sure. Thank you.
Are there any other questions? One thing I did find out based on the question that happened on Tuesday is if you have, question was, I have all of this information for the version, system name, all of that in an Excel sheet or a spreadsheet, and I want to upload it and have all of that information already installed so I don't have to pay extra to get that information put in. If you have PDFs or Word documents, there is a way to do that. If you have AutoCAD files, there is not a way to do that. So that would have to be uploaded manually. One option you have is if you want to do it yourself, you totally can. There's nothing keeping you from it. It's a time involved, labor involved process, but it's totally doable. If you want us to do it for you, we can also do that. We're trying to keep the price under $2 a file. So right now that's very easy for us to do. Depends on how much information you want and put in and what kind of changes you want to the drawings, to AutoCAD files if you're doing that. Noah, you have a question?
Yes. Can you show the search feature? How do you find drawings?
So there's basically just up here. So yeah, so this is the sheet, sorry, and files. What kind of things do you want to look for?
Well, I just want, maybe this is for John and how the users are at Dogwood are using it. I mean, I've experienced that it's difficult. People have had trouble with other systems, finding drawings, searching, using the folder structure. So didn't know how well this was going.
So we're still building on this. So within that search, you can filter by each column here that you have. And then you can also do custom columns, or we can add more columns. You can break it down by, whether you want to break them down by unit, by area, by whatever. Here we've kept it kind of short. I'm still wanting to get with our maintenance guys back there to find out what other columns they want. And we will probably be adding additional columns to give different ways to search, or more tags, so you can search by multiple tags. So the nice thing about this versus a flat file system, in the old way, you could search for like a drawing, something in the drawing name itself. And if it wasn't there, you wouldn't find it. Where here, if you take the time to enter the different tags, you can search by multiple tags and keep continuing to filter it down.
Will the search feature find text on these drawings?
That is a good question. It said it had that capability, but I haven't actually tested it. But I suppose we could test right now. What kind of text are you looking for?
I wouldn't know what text on these. Like if somebody's searching a instrument tag, it would find all the drawings that shows up on. But I don't know Dogwood's nomenclature top of my head.
I think you can try a TT or an FIT, or, oh yeah, BoilerWorks.
Yeah. Let's see. So it's looking like yeah, so it's looking like it's just searching for the text that we've put in. So
Might be something that's just a different filter setup. Seems like it's customizable. That's what I was looking for.
it's very
Thanks.
customizable, and honestly, it's doing a lot more. It does a lot more than I currently know. So I will look into that and I will find out, because there's a way to do it.
Thank you.
They said that it could, and I will find out, and I'll let you know. Are there any other questions?
Yeah, I have one. Can you add additional text? Like if you wanted to put drawing name and then list the drawing name as one of those.
Yeah, absolutely. So these are custom. We put in sheet number, system name, manufacturer. These are all custom columns. So we can add another column. And we can create an attribute, and we can create another column. It's very easy. And then once that's done, we just add that information in. So anything that you want to add, it's easy. Does that answer your question?
Yes, it does.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Right. Well, if that's it, thank you for joining us. I hope you'll join us with using this new document system. It's pretty amazing. Thank you.
Thanks, Chris.